what comes to mind when we hear the words coronation, investiture, enthronement, or inauguration?
Coronation.
So then, who might be the subjects of these? When you think of investiture, it's not necessarily just royalty, but kings, bishops, right? The investiture is watching an investiture of an Orthodox bishop, and they all said Axios, he's worthy, is what they proclaim. It's interesting. So I want to break down a little bit what these words mean. So think of the word investiture. Okay, what comes to mind? Kind of think about breaking that word down if you were, what's called etymology, to break up that word. Investiture. What word comes out inside that word? Invest. And also another one, something Father Scott's there. Investments, exactly. So the investiture has to do with the dress or the clothing or the ceremony to put in his official robes, and clothing for the insignia of those offices. Coronation. It's a little bit different, but this one has to do with the crown. Okay? So this is where, when we talk about coronation, this is where you're putting the crown, on the king's head. So you're investing him as sovereign with the crown. Enthronement. Think of that. What's in that word when you hear throne? Exactly. So this is the ceremony of inauguration where you're putting this, monarch for the first time on the throne. Exactly. So, and inauguration is an interesting word. We kind of secularized it in the United States. We just kind of sanitized that, But it really comes from the word, French words for installation and consecration. To think of putting those two things together. So it means really to induct into office by a formal ceremony or make a beginning into office with suitable ceremonies. So what's interesting is the commonalities amongst these things. So I'm trying to engage your imagination in this because I want to go back and read that text in Daniel, and I want you to hear, what it's really saying, And so what the commonalities of these ceremonies have in common. So you think of the ancient world, really all the way up into the King of England and Britain, when you watch the monarchs, they were always religious or sacred in character with these ceremonies. There were rituals connected with sacred kingship. They were connected with supernatural powers often connected. This is interesting because you had me going when you were talking about we're leading up to this beginning here of a new era. You'll hear the themes of this one I talk about, but it usually marked the beginning of a new era and was often viewed as a cosmic new beginning. So generally that's what would happen. And it had to coincide with the new thing in nature, usually, such as a New Year's festival, is what the ancients would do. This is fascinating. So that's when he was invested with the proper insignia and keys or bishop's robes, the throne, crown, headdress, garment, the signs of dignity, the scepter, the staff with which rules carried out, or for a bishop it would be what he would use to shepherd the flock of God's people. These symbols that he's invested in. And usually these symbols were viewed as divine, and because they identify with the gods. A king would become divine. It's kind of fascinating that often the gods, the pharaohs and others in the ancient world were seen as gods. And in becoming a god, they usually received a new throne name. So you think of, this is kind of came through, down through the Middle Ages, you think of even popes in their investiture to take on another name. So this is Pope Francis, but I don't even know his real name, I forget. But they have a throne name generally. So he would usually then be proclaimed by his royal name, and in ancient cultures he'd be the world ruler. Think of Cyrus or think of Pharaoh, So in England, they jubilantly shout, "Long live the king." That was generally something they would do. And other responses would be by prayers for the kings, psalms, hymns such as the British hymn, "God Save the King." And then generally they were anointed, to give strength to the recipient. So what does this coronation mean to us? Well, today we celebrate the ascendancy and kingship of Christ on his throne. Therefore, the themes of kingship, investiture, authority, and what we have in those lectionary readings that we had today, including in Psalm 93, Revelation 1, chapter 18, but especially in Daniel 7. So this is what Daniel sees in Daniel 7. He sees the enthronement. So now, let your imaginations go here a little bit. We're so disconnected in the modern world from these kind of ancient ceremonies, it's hard for us to visualize it. Try to visualize this. And listen to the threads of it here. You have the Father on the throne, Christ being brought into this throne room, So, as I looked, thrones were set in place, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. His clothing was white as snow, and the hair of his head was white like wool. His throne was flaming with fire, and its wheels were all ablaze. This is a throne chariot. A river of fire was flowing, coming out from before him. Thousands upon thousands attended him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. Then it says later, "And in my vision at night I looked, and there before me was one like a son of man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days and was led into his presence." Here it is. "He was given authority, glory, and sovereign power. All nations and all peoples of every language worship him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away. His kingdom will never be destroyed." He has this in the ascension. This is why Christ can go up in the ascension, and he's going to be presented to the Father to be seated where? At the right hand. That's, So what does Christ's kingship mean to us in the 21st century? So there's a little story I want to tell. One of the professors at Trinity, Dr. Woodbridge, and he's one of these old, gentle souls. Just everybody loves Dr. Woodbridge. His classes are tough, the students tell me. I mean, he really, is tough. But in person, meeting him, he's the most gentle man. But he had on his door, his office door. We were working in facilities and maintenance. He used to marvel at this. But it was a picture that had multiple pictures on it. And in the center of these pictures was Christ in the manger. And what surrounding were pictures of like Pharaoh, Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin. You think of these, different, tyrants. And the caption said, this. It said, "Many kings would be a god, but only one God would become a man." And I always found that fascinating, surrounded by the tyrants of the world. So, what's interesting is the philosophy behind all of those tyrants. Whether they're ancient or new, they had a common philosophy of empire in common. And it was that raw power by violence is what brought stability to the world. Raw power, So you think of during the era of Christ, the Pax Romana, or the peace of Rome. It was maintained by brute force. And crucifixion, being its chief symbol. To anyone who would resist this rule, this is what would happen to you if you resisted the power of Rome. And that ancient philosophy was the doctrine of all pagan gods. and political systems, and it was personified by various beasts in the book of Daniel and in Revelation. That's why they're called beasts. It was embedded in the very cosmologies and mythologies of the pagans, telling of the creation stories and the myths, was this, this philosophy. So it was also then embodied by earthly rulers, whose God they were empowered by, who believed that by bringing order to chaos was achieved by violence. So that's interesting. So they see the world as chaotic, a chaotic place, and it's violence that brings order to this world. That's the philosophy behind it. So you contrast, this is a doctrine of men. It's in all of us. There's a Caesar in all of us. There's a Pharaoh in all of us, that wants to take power, You contrast that with the doctrine of Christ and of his kingdom. His kingdom of shalom. The Jewish word. We'll unpack that. Christ taught that violence begets only more violence and is a never-ending cycle. And that the chaos or the disordering of the world is overcome by forgiveness and love and by taking up one's cross. What Christ did, instead of this other way around, in his love for humanity, is he took up that cross, the symbol of Roman order by violence. And he took up that crown of thorns, which is a symbol of our sinfulness. And he swallowed them up into himself. His love for mankind. He turned those symbols of tyranny and torture and sin and death into symbols of forgiveness, self-sacrifice, love, and reconciliation. Because these are the means to rightly ordering our world. That word shalom, it means more than just peace. It means, and I think of these words, harmony, wholeness, completeness, prosperity, welfare, and tranquility. It's what we forfeited in the garden when we all decided to be gods unto ourselves. We decided to live our own way, like Frank Sinatra said. The contrast with worldly power couldn't be more sharp. Christ himself, who was Lord from all eternity, set aside his heavenly royalty and humbled himself as he took on the nature of a lowly peasant, born in the most humble of circumstances, a feeding trough, an animal feeding trough, and an animal stable, who in his earthly inaugural procession on Palm Sunday, as King of the Jews, rode not a stately stallion, like you would see a king coming in on a stallion, but a humble donkey, which was royal city. A city that ultimately rejected his kind of humble rulership, the kind that swallows up violence through faith, self-sacrifice, and forgiving love. Thus, in his heavenly inauguration, like any inauguration, it meant a whole new order and a new kingdom over against the earthly ones. So I want to just take a little sidetrack and paint for you. I did a huge study on the ancient world, and the ancient world with its gods, they need to be propitiated constantly by God. You had a hard time making the gods happy. The world was filled with human sacrifice, and all sorts of evil. So you think of the worst things, to propitiate the gods, the Aztecs would sacrifice humans, to propitiate the gods. When they dedicate their temple, there was, thousands upon thousands, like 80,000 historians. This stuff was everywhere. They find bodies of young children in the Andes Mountains. They find bog bodies in Europe. This was, they would throw young children in volcanoes, and your best. You give your best to the gods, to appreciate God. So there was no love affair between the ancient pagan world, and these gods, who demanded these sacrifices. Many of the early church fathers, like Augustine, believed were actually devils, So So I want to go to a story here that's told from the first century about God. It's the god Pan. If you remember Pan, Pan is this half man, half goat. He's got ghost feet and split hoofs. He plays the flute. He's usually got a beard depicted with horns. And many of the early church, like Eusebius, would see him as the incarnation of Lucifer. And we see him in rock and roll albums. You see Pan playing his pipes or his flute. Some of you are familiar with that, so it's very common. And this is a story that's told in the first century by Plutarch during the reign of Tiberius, right around the time of the crucifixion of Christ. So, the tale goes like this. The father of Aemilius, the orator, was Epitherses, who lived in our town and was my teacher in Rome. He said that once upon a time, in making a voyage to Italy, he embarked on a ship carrying freight and many passengers. It was already evening when near the Alecinese Islands, the wind dropped, and a ship sailed. The ship drifted near Paxa. Almost everybody on the ship was awake, and a good many had not finished their after-dinner wine. Suddenly, from the island of Paxo, was heard a voice of someone loudly calling Tammuz, so that all were amazed. Tammuz was an Egyptian pilot, not known by name even to many on board. Twice he was called and made no reply. But the third time he answered, and the caller, raising his voice, said, "When you come opposite to the Polones, announce that the great Pan is dead." On hearing this, said Epitherses, all were astonished and reasoned among themselves whether it was better to carry out the order to refuse to meddle or let the matter go. Under the circumstances, Tammuz made up his mind that if there should be a breeze, he would sail past and keep quiet. But with no wind and a smooth sea about the place, he would announce what he had heard. So when he came opposite the Polones, there was neither wind nor wave. Tammuz, from the stern of the ship, looked towards the land and said the words as he had heard them. "The great Pan is dead." Even before he had finished, there was a great cry of lamentation, not of one person, but of many, mingled with exclamations of amazement. The story soon spread abroad in Rome. Tiberius Caesar became so convinced of the truth of the story that he called for an inquiry and an investigation to be made about Pan. That investigation, by the way, is recorded in the Roman court annals of the time. I mention it today as merely one of the events that accompanied the beginnings of what one could call the Great Christian Revolution. For Christ's kingdom meant the same to early Christians as it does to us today, that there has been a revolution, a new order, and not just of the world, but the entire cosmos has been affected. For the old tyrant Satan, whom men were enslaved to, has been defeated. For Christ said, "I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven," Luke 10:18. And he says this in Colossians, having disarmed the rulers and authorities, he made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by his cross. The Father, it says in Ephesians 1:20-23, has set him at his own right hand in the heavenly places, far above all principality and power and might and dominion, and every name that is named, not only in this world, but also in that which is to come, and has put all things under his feet, and gave him to be head over all things to the church, which is his body, the fullness of him that fills all in all. Christ, who is now seated on the throne, says, "Behold, I make all things new." We, the members of his body, of the church, are the first fruits of that new order. The beginning of that newness of what the Bible calls the new creation. For it says, "For if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come." Therefore, we who are filled with his Spirit, who pray that his will be done on earth as it is in heaven, are now his hands and his feet to the world. Healers who allow him to live through us to restore shalom to a broken world. We are agents of change and heralds of a new king who bring the good news that a new reign has begun because of his enthronement at the right hand of the Father as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. It is his reign and his way of life that he has that truly restores peace, harmony, wholeness, completeness, prosperity, welfare, and tranquility between men and men and men and God. His reign restores true shalom, the shalom that was broken in paradise as a result of our sin, which our King has overcome when he said on the cross, "It is finished." Amen. Amen.